Ladies and gentlemen, my dear friends, let me start by saying that I do hope everyone is in a good health and all your loved ones, communities, followers, and countries are safe. I would like to thank all of you for virtually joining us in this Interfaith Dialogue webinar organized in cooperation with our dear friend, our Reverend Hanya Aziz, President of the White Flags Association and Pastor of the National Evangelical Church. Thank you, Reverend Hanya. Before we start, I think it's worth calling on all of you to observe a moment of meditation or prayer in the memory of all those unjustly victims of violent extremism in the name of religions. The last of them is an innocent victim, Stephanie M., French police officer, who fell in the hands of the most despicable acts of terrorism in Rambouillet, France, in addition to many others around the world who fell victims of violence in the name of religion. 1 minute of meditation. Thank you. Thank you very much. I think it's less than 1 minute, but the message is conveyed. Let me also reiterate our strongest condemnation of any act of violent extremism in the name of religion committed by individuals, groups, entities, or states. Thank you. On that note, we cannot but appreciate His Majesty King Hamad's attachment to tolerance and coexistence that embraces everyone without discrimination, as stated by His Majesty upon receiving senior clerics last Sunday. With today's theme of interfaith solidarity, many of you may have noticed a crucial peaceful message that has been at the forefront of many religions across the globe within the past month, marked through various occasions and festivities. Among them, Nowruz on the 20th of March, the year of the Baha'i faith, which symbolizes new beginnings, new life, and new opportunities. This was followed by the Jewish Passover, 27th March to 4th of April, commemorating the Exodus and incorporates themes of springtime, family, social justice, freedom, and new beginnings. Meanwhile, on 28 March, Holi, the ancient Hindu festival of spring, was celebrated, signifying the triumph of good over evil. A day to forgive past errors and conflict and start a new season refreshed and invigorated. The concept of renewed beginnings, life, and rebirth was also celebrated by Christians on April 4th for Easter to commemorate the resurrection of Jesus. And today marks the middle of the holy month of Ramadan, which advocates solidarity, sacrifice, and compassion between the haves and the have-nots. While each faith, as you may have noticed, has marked those holy seasons independently. All faiths intersected around this concept of new beginnings, forgiveness, new opportunities, and the most important, solidarity. In essence, they are all united under a message of tolerance, mutual respect, and peace. The interweaving message across the differing faiths are prerequisites for social cohesion and regional unity during a continuing pandemic, worsened with rising xenophobia, isolation, and disintegrations. During the historic visit of Pope Francis last month to Ur, Iraq, the birthplace of Abraham, father of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, Pope Francis commented on Abraham looking up at the stars and seeing in them the promise of the future. The quote, to quote Pope Francis, thousands of years later, we look up to the same sky, those same stars appear. They illumine the darkest nights because they shine together. We are thus all united, and we should continue standing united in countering the narratives of violent extremism in the name of religion or any clash between faiths and beliefs. Again, I would quote Pope Francis as he put it, hostility, extremism are not born of a religion or a religious heart, they are betrayals of religion. We cannot be silent when terrorism abuses religion. Indeed, we are called unambiguously to dispel all the misunderstandings. As agents of fostering tolerance, understanding, mutual respect, and peace among religions and religious communities, you, as interfaith leaders and representatives, are cornerstones of peace-building efforts. I will end by calling for further solidarity, partnership, and cooperation between all parties at the local, regional, and international levels towards a global response to challenges of violent extremism in the name of religion. Let's work together to implement those values towards a sustainable and long-standing and long-lasting global peace. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you. Shukran jazeela. If you allow me now, I will start by giving the floor to my partner and our partner, Reverend Hanya Aziz, pastor of the National Evangelical Church of Bahrain. Reverend, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, Nejib. Thank you, because you work all the time for peace. Thanks for Bahrain, for the people in Bahrain. We give thanks for our King, Hamad bin Khalifa. I have a speech, but when I see all these peace faces, I will say small words, and I pray it will affect all of us. I will read it in Arabic and then I say it in English. إن لم نحارب عدونا الحقيقي فإننا سنحارب بعضنا البعض. إن لم نحارب الجهل والتعصب والفقر سنحارب بعضنا البعض. If we do not fight our true enemy, we will fight each other. The true enemy is ignorance, intolerance, and poverty, Let us be in unity to fight the real enemy. Because if we didn't fight the real enemy, we will fight each other. Thank you so much. Nejib, أنا خلصت.
I appreciate so much your concise, direct, and to the heart and mind message. Thank you so much. So I will ask all my friends to follow suit and be as brief as possible and focus on a message of peace, solidarity, and commitment to stand together against extremist, violent extremism in the name of religion and in any other name. I will give the floor now to our guest, His Holiness Puja Brahmavari Swami, religious leader and international spokesperson of BAPS Hindu Mandir, who's addressing us from Abu Dhabi. You have the floor, Your Holiness.
First of all, I would like to thank the organizers, especially Nejib, Friji, and Reverend Hanya Aziz, both of whom I know personally, but for giving me this opportunity to so many messengers of peace, people who genuinely believe in peace and uphold peace. The first and the most important thing I would like to share, because as we are religious leaders in some way or another, we are all trying to bring a smile to this earth. But I believe that today's event, which is actually bringing all the people who are trying to bring a smile to this earth together, will bring a smile to God up in the heavens. When we do something that brings a smile to God, it's very important. Because I believe not as something to preach about, but something to really teach and think. That if God really did not believe in harmony, why would he create billion colors in a million flowers? There would be only one colored flower on this earth, but he believes in unity and diversity. If God did not believe in harmony amongst his own children, that's all of us, why would he have so many races with so many faces? Otherwise, on this world, there would be just one race and one face. So truly, God, our maker, he believes in harmony, and he has sent us on this earth to really see whether we can behave on this earth or not. Only those who can behave on this earth have an entry to heaven. And I believe the starting point has to be with the religious leaders. And the most important fact is that there is not just unity in diversity, but there's also beauty in diversity. And as we think and as we develop and as we become more knowledgeable, science teaches us that there is sustainability in diversity. If we destroy or get rid of even one species, the human race would find it almost impossible to exist. They say if we remove all vegetation from this earth, it would take 70 days for human beings to die on their own. If we are dependent on vegetation so much for our existence, then surely we are dependent upon each other for our existence. It's just mere logic. And it's not just sustainability, but I feel that most important thing is that there is a bioweb. And our ancient Hindu sadhus and seers and sages, and I believe this would be true for every religious leader in every religion, in every culture, and every leader of the embassy who is present here. The ancient Hindu sadhus said one beautiful prayer, and I will follow suit. And it says, it is the prayer for peace. And the prayer says, Om Dyohu Shanti Ranta Rikshagub Shanti. Prathavi Shanti Rapaha Shanti Rokhadayaha Shantihi. It means let there be peace in the skies, let there be peace in the forest, let there be peace in the deserts, in the waters, in the seas. Let there be peace in the air. When there is peace all around me and in everyone around me, only then I will be at peace. So to all the messengers of peace, peace cannot be selfish. You can't say, I want peace. The moment you say, I want peace, it becomes selfish. If we create peace, if you are at peace, he is at peace, she is at peace, the whole world is at peace, only then I will be at peace. And that's the reason it also says Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which means we are all one large human single family. And when we consider if God is our maker, that every religion, every culture, every person present here, we believe in peace, we believe in solidarity, we believe in harmony, then what's the issue? The issue that there's a gap between our dream and our reality. There's a gap between our values and our work. When we religious leaders and thinkers get together and have dialogue, that's how and that's when the gap is bridged. President Kalam, he was a practicing Muslim and one of the finest presidents that India has ever created. Most loved. Imagine, he called that his ultimate teacher was a Hindu sadhu, His Holiness Pramukh Swami Maharaj. While Dr. Kalam could not understand the language of the monk, Pramukh Swami Maharaj could not understand English, the language of Dr. Kalam. He left on this world that he was a scientist, so the best friendship was between science and a spiritual leader, a Muslim and a Hindu. And he wrote his final book, which says Transcendence, the real worth of a human being, as when we can transcend beyond the borders that divide us. Our Holiness Pramukh Swami Maharaj, who has experienced that peace and love in Bahrain, because I remember in 1997, that's when I found out that the word peace or harmony can no longer be just a noun. We have to turn it into a verb. You can't say, I love you, that's a noun. You have to show, I love you. You cannot say, let's be at peace. You have to be at peace. So I remember in 1997, as monks, we do not have a country or a home, and we cannot stay in one place for long. So when we had come and met the late King Isa of Bahrain, we must have traveled almost across 51 countries and met so many world leaders. But it was in Bahrain that the king said that, where is your home? And we said, we do not have a home. He said lovingly, make Bahrain your home. So there could not have been a better place where we could have done this initiative of bringing in people for this peace and solidarity. And I believe that it's in the hearts of the people. So coming back to what President Kalam, a Muslim leader and the president of India, he often said that all religions are beautiful and in themselves are great and inspiring, but they are all like islands, beautiful islands and beautiful orchards. But because they are islands, they are not connected to each other. We need people and leaders to connect them to each other. I believe this is not just one more conference, and this is not just one more initiative. It's when we leaders have a dialogue with each other, but it should not stop there. We should have the same dialogue with our followers and people that we influence. And we should have the same dialogue with ourselves inside us. Do we really believe in peace? Do we really want to turn peace from a noun to a verb? Can we really reach out to people? One message that our spiritual head often told me, and it is drilled in my heart, and because there are so many national leaders also present in different ways, I would like to share an end. He often told me that what nationality is the sun? Is it British, American, Indian, Arabic, Russian, Malaysian? The sun is beyond nationality. It is there for those who want sunlight. What color is air? Is it black, brown, yellow, white. Air is beyond race and the color of our skin. It is there for those who want to breathe. What religion does water belong to? Does it belong to Christians, Muslims, Hindus, Buddhists, Jews? Water is there for those who are thirsty. And what class does earth belong to? Higher, lower, middle? Earth is there for those who want to stand erect and walk the higher path. And then at the end, just because we have knocked on the doors of the moon and we are sending missions to Mars, what race does space belong to? The human race? All these 5 elements, earth, water, light, air, and space, they are universal, owned by nobody and enjoyed by everybody. So of course, the creator who created them by default is universal. And I believe that when we gather together and when we celebrate peace, because there is so much negativity going on around the world, if people can gather for useless ideas and things that really generate chaos on this earth again and again and again, why should we not gather together again and again and again? And what better place can there be than Bahrain, which has really welcomed us? Even this Abu Dhabi temple. So many people tell us that, Swamiji, this is civilizational. First time a traditional Hindu temple is being built in Abu Dhabi. I wanted to tell all of you and leave this as a last ending note that imagine the Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, out of all generosity, a Muslim king donates free land to a Hindu organization, where our lead architect for the entire temple complex is Michael, a Christian Catholic, where our lead consultant is Mr. Lai, he is Chinese of no religion, where our project manager is Jasbir Singh from Bahrain, he is a Singh Sardarji, Sikh, where our contractors are Shapurji Palanji, who are Parsis. I think what better message for interfaith harmony can there be when all of these people of different religions, cultures, and purpose unite together to create a spiritual oasis for global harmony. I once again thank each one of you for inviting me and giving me so much love. And I can see the peace reflected in your faces, because I believe when we can stand each other, we will understand each other. When we understand each other, we will stand together. But when we stand together, we'll definitely stand up for each other. Time has arrived to stand up for peace and for each other and understand each other. That will bring a smile to God. And I believe this initiative is very important for all of us. If I have taken a little longer, please forgive me, but I have experienced this open-heartedness in Bahrain, in UAE, amongst different religious people, and that has changed me for life. Thank you again for all this love, Reverend Hanya, Aziz, and all the people present, and also Nejib, Friji, and everybody for really giving me so much love. Thank you again.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the speech from the heart to our hearts and brains. And may all of us heed your call for unity, solidarity, and standing together. I'll give the floor now to our First Lady, Ms. Tahira Jabiri, representative of the Baha'i Faith. My dear sister, you have the floor. Tahira?
Yes. Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. I would like to extend my appreciation for giving me opportunity to speak in this opening panel. It is a great honor to be here. Once a Secretary General of the United Nations, Kofi Annan, said, "We may have different religions, different languages, different colored skin, but we all belong to one human race. We are all united under the message of tolerance, mutual respect, and peace. A clear example of this solidarity is celebration during spring. Why all this celebration of all the religions happens during the springtime, during this transformational, renewed season? Many faiths celebrate holiday in spring. As Baha'is, we also celebrate Nowruz during this season, which means a new day, and it is represent the first day of spring, and it is also the beginning of a new Baha'i calendar. Spring does not only bring renewal to the physical world, but also a spiritual light and reawakening, as we can witness in all our religious celebration. When the sun appears at the equinox, it causes a movement in all living things. The mineral world is set in motion, plants begin to bloom, and every living thing responds. Likewise, human reality is refreshed. Our thoughts are transformed, and our intelligence is quickened. These celebrations serve as a symbolic reminder of the oneness of all the messengers of God and the spiritual springtime they each brought to humanity. The COVID-19 pandemic is one of the most dangerous challenges this world has faced in our lifetime. Therefore, the world needs more hope and strength of spirit that religion brings. We have been forced by this experience to recognize that we actually have the capacity to be more compassionate. During this pandemic, we have realized that we are prepared to live for a while in a completely different way in order to care for each other. And I think that is a very promising sign. We all must strive to find a common path together, a path to building a better world with each other. If we all have humility, instead of insisting on the exclusivity of our own perspectives, then we begin to learn from each other. Today, the Interfaith movement can reflect on more than a century of experience, cultivating dialogue between people of different faiths. The Interfaith movement has made impressive contributions toward promoting unity among the world's religious communities. Increasingly, people are conscious of how the movement can go even further in helping humanity to attain higher degree of unity in addressing its most heavy challenges. All religions promote upright character, introduces compassion, forgiveness, and nobility. It prohibits harm to others and invites souls to sacrifice so that they may give of themselves for the good of others. It brings a world-embracing vision and cleans the heart from self-centeredness and prejudice. Religion can be seen as a system of knowledge and practice that is evolving and offers insights and values that can help society advance. It inspires souls to build unity, to work hard for the betterment of all, to see their own happiness in others, to advance learning and science to be an instrument of true joy, and to revive the body of humankind. Lastly, I will conclude on a reassuring note.
Your mic, doctor.
From a traveler's narrative that all nations should become one in faith and all men as brothers, that the bonds of affection and unity between the sons of men should be strengthened, that diversity of religion should cease and differences of race be cancelled. What harm is there in this? Yet, so it should be these fruitful conflicts, these harmful wars shall pass away, and the most great peace shall come. Let not a man glory in this, that he loves his country. Let him rather glory in this, that he loves his kind. As I will end it by the talk of Our Majesty, which is, I like really this sentence, it's very beautiful, that he says, ignorance is the enemy of peace. It is therefore our duty to learn, to share, and to live together in the spirit of mutual respect of love. It's been a pleasure being with all of you today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, my friend Tahira Jabiri, on behalf of the Baha'i Faith. Thank you so much and for your message and commitment to peace and unity between religions. I will now give the floor to Dr. Abdullah Ahmed Al-Maqabi من وزارة الشؤون وزارة العدل والشؤون الإسلامية والوقف. The floor is to my friend Dr. Abdullah Ahmed Mukabi from the Ministry of Justice and Islamic Affairs.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh jami'an. Good afternoon, everyone. Actually, I cannot say more than everyone who say or who talk about peace. But we believe all life without.
We lost you.
Life without peace is not life. We agree about all religions means peace. نحن نؤمن برسالة السلام ونؤمن بالسلام ونؤمن بالسلم كجميع الديانات وكجميع الأديان. السلام والسلم والأمن هي رسالتنا جميعا. We are one about peace. We are one for peace. We are one for everything about peace. هذه رسالتي إلى العالم أننا نجتمع من أجل السلام ومن أجل السلم ومن أجل أن يكون العالم وأن يعيش العالم وأن تعيش المجتمعات بالأمن والسلم والسلام. وشكرا لكم.
شكرا جزيلا سماحتك على هذه الكلمات المقتضبة لكن ذات الدلالات الهامة. نشكرك دائما على وقوفك معنا وأنت من دعاة السلام والأمن والوسطية. شكرا لك. Now I move to my friend Ibrahim Nunu, my dear friend, representative of the Jewish community and president of the Association of Gulf Jewish Communities, and he's based in Bahrain. Ibrahim, you have the floor, my friend. Shalom.
Shalom. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I am very happy to participate in this event, as I believe the world has much to learn from the Bahraini experience. All the holy books have much the same message. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he took the Prophet Abraham from Iraq to the Holy Land to create a better human being who can follow guidelines and walk in the ways of heavenly behavior. The Prophet Abraham, peace be upon him, is our glue today because he was the first to understand the eternal struggle between the forces of light and the forces of darkness. The Prophet Moses, peace be upon him, communicated the 10 commandments, which today are as valuable as they were when the good Lord wrote them. and they justify the workings of any society. And they again exist in all our books. This is also the glue of respect for each other and the acceptance of all religions. Today, the eternal struggle between the forces of light and the forces of darkness continues, and our work can never end. We must support the forces of light wherever we see darkness. The reason why there is this eternal struggle is purely because the life thereafter will reflect your actions on this earth. Our synagogue, the House of the Ten Commandments, is named after the Prophet Moses, peace be upon him, because he is our mentor and our teacher. And with the new beginning in the synagogue that we have today in Bahrain, we have seen Christians and Muslims pray side by side with Jews. This represents a house of worship for all faiths. And that was the intention of the Prophet Moses. Passover is meant to signify the savior of the Jewish people from Pharaoh and the return to Israel. And I would just want to leave you with this message, that twice the good Lord removed the Jews from the Holy Land, and twice he returned them. Who on this earth could possibly argue with that heavenly decision? Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Ibrahim Nunu, our friend. And now I give the floor to Mr. Sushil Muljimal, Chairman of the Krishna Temple. You have the floor, my brother. Mr. Sushil? No response. I'll move to the next speaker, Pastor Job Nelson, Bethel Church of Nations in Bahrain. Pastor Job?
Hello?
Yes, Pastor Job, we can hear you. We don't see you, but we can hear you very loud and clear.
Thank you, Nejib, and thank you, my pastor, Hanya. And I thank God for this opportunity to share. We as Christians, we celebrate a season of Easter, which is a season of hope for us as Christians. I just want to pull out three main points, and I want to speak about, first of all, I want to speak about Jesus Christ's endurance at the cross. And if we look at Jesus Christ's endurance, the thing he went through to go to the cross and what he went through the cross, and when we look back now, we can look back and see what is expected or what we are going through and what God expects us as people to endure through, more especially this time of this COVID. In this season of COVID is a season of endurance. Things are not working the way they ought to work or they ought to be, but God expects us to endure through this season as we go through this season. In the Bible speaks in Psalms 35, in Psalms 30, verse 5, he says, weeping may endure for a night, but joy will come in the morning. And I come to share a word of hope that will bring peace to everyone, that yes, we may be going through a moment of night and there is so much going, but there is hope and there is joy that will come in the morning, but it is time for us to endure through this season. And the next thing I want to speak about, the reflection of our celebration of Easter, is about the resurrection of Christ. The resurrection of Christ is a time when life and things will come back to life. Things have happened in this season, but I come to give the hope that there will be a resurrection. Things will come back, life will come back. As long as we have hope, there will be a resurrection, because we have a Christ who resurrected and promised that things will resurrected back. So I believe that in this season that we are going through, all that we need is that we need a hope that will tell us that life will come back again. There will be a resurrection. And the last point I want to talk about is restoration. Jesus Christ, after he died on the cross, resurrected, he restored things back. And I want to give hope that in this season, there will be restoration, because sin came into the world, and sin is one of the things that bring division even amongst family, division among friends, division in religion that affect the peace of the world. So when Jesus came, he paid a price on the cross to restore back man back to God, because sin separates man from God. And so I came to give a hope that there will be a restoration, that God will restore back everything that this season have taken away from us. This pandemic has taken so much from us. But we as Christians, we preach to our people and to our friends that there will be a restoration. God will restore things back to order again. Because when you don't have hope, then there is no point in living. You become at war even or in crisis even within yourself. But if you have hope inside of you, then you will be able to give another hope, and then peace will be able to exist, and coexistence will be able also to exist. But once there is no hope, there will not be coexistence. And so I have 3 points to point out that in this season, we are to endure. In this season, we must have a hope that there will be a resurrection, that life will come back again. And the third thing is that there will be a restoration, that God will restore back everything that has been destroyed. In the Bible, it is written in Genesis chapter 1 from verse 1 to 4. The Bible says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God over the face of the water. And God said, let there be light, and there was light. And God saw that light was good, and God divided the light from darkness. God will restore back the season of this COVID, which is the season of darkness that gloomed the whole world. God will restore back, light will come again, there will be hope. I come to preach hope. There is hope in Christ Jesus. God bless you. Amen.
Thank you so much. Very highly appreciated. I will, that message will, I think, go straight to our minds and hearts as all other messages. And as you all called for unity and togetherness in the name of religion instead of violence, instead of them. I will now give the floor to Chaplain Aaron Carlton, U.S. Naval Forces, Central Command, 5th Fleet. Please, you have the floor, my father.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you so much for this gracious invitation. I am truly humbled and honored to be able to participate in this interfaith dialogue and stand in solidarity with all of you. It's been a while since any of my counterparts in my office have been able to participate in such a dialogue and fellowship like this. And I would like to state from my very personal conviction, my alignment and commitment to the purpose and intent of organizations like this to promote peace, understanding, dialogue. And I look forward to building relationships with you in the days ahead. My heart is overflowing with joy at the words that I've heard today. And I'm reminded of a quote from one of my favorite writers, that in the school of the Spirit, there is only one major, and that is love. And so I look forward to promoting with you and celebrating with you in the days ahead, vibrant diversity, a joyful unity, and beautiful harmony. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, and God bless you in all your efforts to maintain peace and fluid circulation of goods and humans around this part of the world. Now, I will give the floor to Pastor Blaine. Pastor, you can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Please go ahead. The floor is yours, my friend.
Well, first I want to apologize. I have had a computer IT issue, so I have missed all of the dialogue between you, which I'm sure has been rich and full. I was very grateful that my brother, Pastor Hanya, invited me to participate in this dialogue because I have been a student of peace and want to be in solidarity with those who are so committed. And I think a big part of that journey is listening to and learning from one another. I am developing a relationship even now with a brother, a Shia brother that works out where I work out in the morning, and we're sharing our faith stories and agreeing on the things that unite us as faith traditions and committing to work for justice and reconciliation and peace. I believe that we bless one another and we honor our Creator when those things that unite us, we choose to focus on, and we work in solidarity for justice and peace and reconciliation. So to whatever extent this group is committed to that outcome, and I sense that there's a deep commitment here, I am so committed, and I'm eager to get to know all of you on a personal level and participate with you in this fine work.
Thank you. Thank you, Pastor Blaine, Newhouse, National Evangelical Church. Most welcome to our group of peace advocates and faith interaction and dialogue. Thank you so much. I think we come up to the end of this list of religious leaders and figures. I will give the floor to other speakers if they wish to do so. And I think I saw the French ambassador, mon ami Jérôme Cochard, who wants to take the floor. Jérôme, vous m'entendez?
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Nejib. Thank you for this webinar. As you mentioned, we are all, it's a group of peace advocates, but I do believe it's like a vaccine. Even us, we need regular shots to keep the goodwill. So it's very useful to have this meeting. Just one point about what is called, what someone said, that ignorance is the enemy of peace. Okay, we all agree about this, but my point is that goes also through education and teaching. I remember a book written by Amin Malouf, which was The Crusades Seen by the Arabs. Because there are also books, Crusades Seen by the West. And my point is, if you don't read both books, you don't reach the mutual understanding, which is of critical importance. And so this goes also through teaching in schools. And so I end to say that it's like in diplomacy, when you discuss an agreement with a former enemy or whatever, you have to put yourself in the other shoes, in his place. If you don't do this, you will not understand the others. So mutual understanding to fight ignorance, but it goes through education and teaching we all have to remember that we have on Earth a shared history. Thank you again for IPI. It's so useful, my dear Nejib, to have this shot, and it's a peaceful shot. Thank you.
Thank you, Jérôme. Merci beaucoup. And again, condolences for the heinous act of terrorism that Rambouillet witnessed. We all stand with you, with all the victims of terrorism, wherever they are. I will give the floor to Ms. Margaret Nardi, the U.S. Chargée d'Affaires. Margaret, you have the floor.
Thank you, Nejib, and thank you to IPI for hosting this important event, and to all of the speakers, which show the incredible diversity of religions here just on this small island of Bahrain. And if only this could be an example for other countries. I just want to reflect a little bit on what has been said. It's about violent extremism in general. I think anyone who's been watching the news in the US, again, I was saying a lot of the same things a year ago, but has seen recently the struggles that we are going through. Just within recent days, there were attacks against synagogues. There have been ongoing attacks against Asian Americans. There were 4 Sikhs who were killed in a shooting at a Federal Express building. There's all sorts of attacks against people of color. So the sort of the common denominator is people who are different, whatever different means, but different from whatever group is conducting the attacks. And I think that with COVID, things have only become worse. As people lose their jobs or feel isolated, they tend to lash out and take it out on other people. And so I think one of the things that we try to do in the US Embassy, and I think all embassies do, is to create connections on a personal level. So instead of seeing someone as the other or as different, you meet them as a person and you see their humanity. And I think that's a very important thing to do, particularly this year. And I can commit to you that certainly we in the US Embassy will continue to try to do our part as we sort of struggle with what it means to be an American these days. And I'm very grateful to you for hosting this, and to everybody who's demonstrating how important it is that we connect and reach out with each other. So thank you for doing this. That's all.
Thank you, Margaret, for joining us as usual, and your messages as a partner, I would say, in addition to being a diplomat representing the US administration and the United States, is very significant. And with superpowers like yours, we could work together to make changes, not only within the US, but around the world, towards peace, equal peace, durable peace, all over the world, without any exception. Now, I will also request my friend, His Excellency Kai Bockmann, the German ambassador, who wants to say a few words. Kai, you have the floor.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you to IPI MENA and to all participants for an incredibly inspiring and uplifting meeting. I just would like to commend all, and maybe also to note that the German Foreign Office has established since 2016 a task force on the responsibility of the religions for peace, and to liaise with religious leaders with various conferences and activities, because we noted that diplomats and religious leaders, religious actors share common objectives: building trust, finding compromise, protect the weak, promote peace, strive for stability. These are our common objectives, and this was impressively underscored by today's meeting. Thank you all so much.
Guy, thank you very much, my dear friend, and thank you for the breaking news you always bring to our meetings about the German Task Force for Peace. And I think Germany is the best example for peace, as we noticed, all observers, that Europe, that was the field of the worst wars, including the 2 world wars, when it opted for peace, Germany became the leader of building the largest regional integration ensemble in Europe, that led to what Europe is nowadays, with so many harmonized sectors and elements of life, from industry to agriculture to transport to making Europe one village with all these facilities that Europeans are enjoying now. And of course, Germany as a leading power there, we say it with France, as they used to be enemies in war, now they are partners in peace, and look at the dividend of peace. Not only Europeans are enjoying that, but the large parts of the world. So I get back to you on this task force that you referred to, hoping we will do some work together. Thank you, Kai. Any other ambassadors or participants who would like to say a few words? Munir?
Yes. Excellencies.
Mr. Munir Bushnaqi is the senior advisor to the Bahrain Antiquity and Culture Authority, and he is also a senior advisor to UNESCO, former Director General, Assistant Director General to UNESCO. Thank you, my friend Munir, who's from Algeria also.
Thank you, Dr. Nejib, for this very important initiative. And thanks to my friend, Reverend Hanya Aziz. I want to say only two words. One is an example that Reverend Hanya Aziz has given to all faith in Bahrain in calling representative of all religions to go to Qalat al-Bahrain, which is a World Heritage Site in Bahrain, and to make from there an appeal for peace. Why? Because in UNESCO, since the time of Federico Mayor, Director General, a program called Culture of Peace was established within UNESCO, and we are working in the field of cultural heritage, which is the specialty in which I worked during nearly half a century. This is through knowing cultural heritage, through education, as it was mentioned by His Excellency, the Ambassador of France, and many leaders of religions who spoke this morning. I think it is through education and through appreciation of the other, through appreciation and knowing the other, that we can avoid the unfortunate situations of terrorism and of massacres of people. Innocent people always are paying a very heavy price against ignorance. And in all our life at UNESCO, with Mrs. Irina Bokova, with Mr. Koichiro Matsura, and now with Mrs. Audrey Azoulay, this is one of the strategic directions that we are trying to do. And this is why we are working very closely with IPI, and in particular with my friend, I must say my brother, Dr. Nejib Friji. Thank you so much. And I learned a lot from the leaders and from the ambassadors. And this is a message that I will convey also to headquarters. Thank you.
On these wise words by my brother Munir Bushnaqi, who represents UNESCO with all its three major pillars, education, science, and culture, that we need badly to build new generations. As UNESCO said, peace is not something that we should feel on earth or land. It should be inhabited in the minds of people. That's when and where we could think of peace. And I think the French ambassador made a good reference, and I would say subtle reference to the need to educate people and build the culture around peace. And that's when we can have, as he referred to, the best preventive measure, what he called the vaccine, and cure. I would say prevention is better than cure. So thank you, everybody. I will say see you soon. Happy seasons. We mentioned many seasons, from Ramadan to Nowruz to Passover to all feasts. And may next Eid and next celebrations be celebrated really by counting the advantages of and dividends of peace, stability, and sustainable development. Thank you. Shukran. Salam. Peace. Shalom.